he does not linger with those who have a home, nor with those who stray. Wanting nothing, he travels on alone. In India, people are divided into two categories. That is a traditional division. It was so in Buddha's time too. It is very ancient division. Buddha is trying to make a distinction. He is trying to make his disciples a third category. The old ancient categories are two. The first is the worldly, the householder, those who have a home. They are called householders for the simple reason that they live in the fallacy of security, safety that the thing comes through money, power, prestige. Security that they think comes out of relationships. The wife thinks he is safe with the husband. The husband thinks he is safe with the wife. The parents think they are safe with their children. The safety is fallacious because neither the family nor the money nor anything else of this world can save you from death. When death comes, it settles everything. It settles all your sand castles. The householder lives in a kind of dream world, a world of his own projections. It is not true. It does not correspond to reality. It is his own projection. The wife thinks the husband is her security, and the husband thinks the wife is his security. Now both are insecure. How two insecure persons can give security to each other? Two insecure persons together become doubly insecure. But the fallacy is created. This was the first category, the grahastha, the householder. And the second category was of those who have renounced the first category, who have moved to the other extreme, who don't live in the houses, who don't live in the families, who don't earn money, who don't touch money even, who have moved to exactly the opposite extreme. They were known as sannyasins. They used to wander around the country in small or big groups. Jaina monks are not allowed to move alone. In Buddha's time, there were thousands of Jaina monks. Because Jainism had existed at least for 3,000 years before Buddha. Thousands of Jaina monks, they are not allowed to move alone. They have to move at least in a group of 5. For the simple reason that a person moving alone cannot be trusted. He may fall into some errors. And knowing that nobody is with him, nobody knows, he may drink wine somewhere, or he may fall in love with a woman, or he may go and visit a prostitute, or he may do something. But moving with 4 others, it is impossible. The other 4 are constantly watching. So that was a strategy to prevent anybody getting any kind of freedom, any kind of license. A psychological strategy. Unless all the 5 decide to conspire together, and that was very difficult. That is almost impossible. Sinners are known to become friendly to each other. Saints are not known to become friendly to each other. They don't know what friendship is. They can't conspire. They will watch. They will try to find out every kind of fault in the other, and they will report to the masters. And Hindu monks used to move, even now they do the same. In big groups of hundreds. Buddha says, you have dropped a small family and now you have moved into a bigger crowd. You have become another family. Nothing has changed. First you were thinking that was your security. Now you think this is your security. But the old idea of security still persists. He says that to be a sannyasin means to accept the natural insecurity of life. That very acceptance is sannyas. To accept that I am born alone and I will die alone. And between these 2 alonenesses, all ideas of being together with somebody are just fantasies. I am alone even while I am alive. One is born alone, one lives alone, one dies alone. Buddha's emphasis is very much on the fact of your aloneness. He wants you to be aware of it. Once you are aware of it, you will be surprised of the beauty of it, of the joy of it. You will not be scared. You will rejoice in it because it has a freedom. It has an ecstasy in it. It has a purity and innocence in it. And why hanker for security? Life is insecure in its very nature. Hence, it is simple logic. Those who want to be more alive, they have to live in insecurity. Greater the insecurity, more will be your aliveness. Greater the so-called fallacious security, and less will be your aliveness. That's why you see so many dead people in the world. Almost dead. For the simple reason because they have become so much attached to the idea of security. And the deadlier you are, the more secure you are. Don't do anything that can create any insecurity. Remain confined in the familiar. Don't go ever beyond the limits. You will never know the ecstasy of going beyond the limits. You will never know the ecstasy of exploring the unknown and the unknowable. According to Buddha, both are the same people. Of course, they are extremists and they appear opposite to each other. But don't be deceived. They are not really opposite. They have found different kind of securities. A Jaina monk wrote to me that he would like to come here. He has been reading my books and he wants to become my sannyasin. But he is afraid he will lose all his security. Because now the Jaina community protects him, feeds him, takes every care of him, respects him. Once he leaves the monkhood, the Jaina community won't be protecting him anymore. He had asked me, am I ready to take his life in my hands? Will I be his security? Now he wants to change from one security to another security. He cannot take a jump into insecurity. And my sannyas is insecurity. Real sannyas is always insecurity. Because real life is insecurity. There is a great security in being insecure. In dropping the very idea of security, you are secure with the whole, with God, with the total. And there is great excitement then, because each moment you don't know what is going to happen.